All right, I think we're live. If we're live, it's the 27th of March, 2024. This is Gimbalabs Open Spaces. We get together Wednesdays, Thursdays, 14:30 UTC, just to get together and make some progress. Progress on what? I know you're wondering. Progress on the following. So we got together in January. We wrote a primary driver for this year. And now we've got some circles where work is starting to happen. And so throughout the month of March, we've been getting together and just deciding how to use this time. 3 hours a week of synchronous time. We do a quick check-in, and then we go live and we jump into the work. So now what I'm going to do is set a timer for 2 minutes. Should I use the Miro one? Probably. Let's use that. It's easier.
We get that great music. It is inspiring.
Except that my Zoom is still struggling sometimes with screen sharing. And I still haven't properly diagnosed this. Well, look, I'm going to open up a timer with sharing disabled. Then I'm going to share screen again. And there's the timer. Will I be able to start it? Who knows? But let's take 2 minutes, grab sticky notes. People are already doing it, so we could start the clock. There we go. And in 2 minutes, we'll talk about how to spend time. See you then. All right, all right. Keep the ideas coming either in the chat or here on the board or just by unmuting. But next, let's just go from left to right and see what we see here. So I see one sticky that says Notion proposal. Anybody want to talk about that one?
Yeah, that was what I shared last night during the meeting yesterday. Yeah, so I was wondering if we could see if we could approve that or whatever.
So what's the verb here?
The verb.
Do you want to write a Notion proposal or talk about it?
Well, there was. I shared the.
Yeah, I remember there was something from your talk about Notion.
Yeah, I shared the link for it, but yeah, it was just about my idea for using Notion and using it to help figure out ideas for maybe a better tool in the future for doing collaborative work. So that's sort of the thing I want to focus on mainly, but I'm up to contributing in other areas too. So
This is awesome. Yeah, I think getting this started is such a good idea. And like you said, right, where there's different places for people to start contributing, right? So for example, when I keep bringing PPBL 2024, that's because I have clarity about doing this thing in this circle personally right now. So in a similar way, what circle is the best one for, can we say refining and developing as our verbs, right? We want to get this proposal to a point where it can be brought to the group for consent, okay? And that involves very clearly stating what's the budget, what resources are required, right? How many hours of work does this take? Who's going to do it? Should there be funding? If so, how much? Those are examples of what we can figure out. And so what circle does this best fit into in terms of getting together and refining this proposal?
I think it's mostly there's builders contributing and doing. I'm not sure
Yeah.
what the like.
Yeah,
There's a yeah. I don't
this
know.
is that's some really, really cool R&D as well, right? So builders, for people who want to be building, one thing to potentially research and build is, hey, how do we build a Notion alternative? That's really interesting. Another one snuck in on the farther to the left here, deep workspace for sustainability.
Yeah, that was me. The Hinson proposal passed, and there is some work to be done there. So I was thinking me, Newman, and Hinson could discuss a little more and like work there.
Okay. So that could be a breakout room, and that's directly related here. Okay, and then what's up with community onboarding?
Okay, so this is where I took my thread and it kind of goes down. I've sort of think of myself. I did sort of step up and make a teal sticky and say that I wanted to focus in on community and onboarding. And so like when I come to the open spaces, that's what I sort of think about. It's like, okay, this is my dedicated time to think on these things. And when we packet switch or when we multitask or split attention, like I feel like I need to pick up the thread. So it's like basically what's up with, I need to be able to quickly say what's up with community onboarding, and then to like figure out what I want to work on or what, the backlog and things are. And then I wrote this sticky, what would I be proud of looking back from like, let's say July. So it's just like how in the future me, if I can say, oh, that's what I did back in April. This March, personally, I'm like I'm focused on games, and there's lots of cool games things. All these go together. So, and they don't really have a breakout room. Like I don't, unless someone wants to work on these community projects. So just so that if you'd like, I can just go through these stickies and or I'm not certain if that's.
So yeah, this is a bit of a breakdown of some potential work around community and onboarding.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Like surfacing tensions, like if anyone has any, like, in that S3 way of like, oh, community, something in the community space, whether it's a problem with Discord or I couldn't find something, or my one big tension actually was trying to get a hold of Ken to talk about his playground, and I couldn't get his contact information. So that was one, like this one and this one kind of go together. And then that sort of led me to foundational documents of the circle. And I was working on this Google Doc, which is a delegation canvas, with primary driver and key responsibilities, customers and deliverables. So that document kind of, as a link, I sort of thought, oh, well, what we really want is a map of content, or an index, or a link tree kind of. If you're interested in this circle, here is an index of the people that are involved, and I guess that's sort of what this is, even though I added like membership, and sometimes membership is kind of got a bad rap because it's like, okay, these are in or out, but it's just, these are the folks that wrote a sticky that said, I'm interested in doing work in community onboarding trust building. So I'm sort of thinking in terms of like, if someone shows up, like where can, some documentation, which has been my focus for a while. So in this, I use this idea of, or this term, foundational documents. And then that brought me to sort of Kanban board, or a backlog, or milestones, like, or initiatives or proposals. And then that's sort of into that, like, proposal templates. And then like, we want to pull work. I think that's an S3 principle of like, okay, we want to see where the work, visualize. That's another S3 principle. And then we kind of want to say, oh, I'm willing, or I have the bandwidth to work. And I don't want to say work. I put in quotes, lend effort, because it shouldn't feel like work. But it should feel like effort, and then also work is something you get paid for, et cetera, et cetera. But and we don't want to say volunteer either, but we want to lend our effort or attention or our focus to community projects. So it would be cool to be like, hey, I'm willing, or I want to lend effort in this space, and I want to make it easy for people to lend effort. That's what I think communities should do. They should make it harder. They shouldn't put a bunch of hurdles in the way. They should be like, oh, for instance, my girlfriend and I volunteer, and it is volunteering, at a community pantry on Saturdays. So on Saturdays, we show up at 9 and we leave at 1, and that's our time where we, and it gives us all kinds of good things because we have community and we're in this cool gym and we, blah, blah, blah. So I want to make it easy for people to contribute in Gimbalabs, and so that they quickly can understand, do that contribution, do that lending of effort, and then build things that we're proud of, or something that they're energized by in the most way. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Community Circle.
Awesome. Who has questions?
Or insights, or like, oh, this is what resonates, or anything. This is what I'm hoping to do in the community circle, community onboarding and trust building.
Just want to make a plug for one of the 2 proposals we've already approved here. We've approved one proposal to build PPBL 2024 with a certain budget for lesson writing. And we approved getting Notion accounts for folks for a year. And Notion is a really good tool for all of this. All of templates, milestone reporting, backlogs and Kanban boards, the ability to take any internal documents and make them public anytime so they can be shared. Even taking a Kanban board that we're using, we can get to the point where we have a well-defined project and we can say, well, we want people to know about this more publicly. You publish it and now it's out there and people can start picking up cards. So I was thinking about a lot of this when I proposed that we use that tool, and we have this opportunity to spend some US dollars to facilitate a lot of this, right? To get the technical tool we need to do a lot of this so we can spend our time actually implementing things and not just ad hoc pulling tools in. So I really want to make a plug for that, right? We are a loose organization. It's hard to say, do we even call this an organization? But if we want some of the benefits of being a little bit more like one, I really do encourage everybody to take up that tool. We are approved to spend money to use it so that we can build. Okay, so if anybody's feeling hesitant to get a Notion account, I really encourage you not to be. It's approved. We have the money. We decided to do it. Okay. And it'll really help us have a tool that accomplishes a lot of these goals.
Okay. Yeah, and so either someone or me from that's associated with community onboarding, trust building could create a Notion page that includes public links to the proposal template, the Kanban board, the proposals that are upcoming, the proposals that have been funded, that type of stuff. And the reason to have that is to let people quickly contribute. And I feel like that's part of our driver.
Yeah.
Like it's that empowers an individual to solve meaningful problems, which parentheses by sort of contribution. Yeah. Like what are the yeah, okay. Yeah.
Last week, Hinson put in a proposal. Oh, that was our third proposal, right? He put in a proposal just that he needed an account so that he could do a few things. And we went through a consent process in a very short amount of time and got him that account. So feel free to do the same. And again, anybody else here too, if you're looking for a spot to really start organizing our efforts, we have it and you're invited to use it. That's really exciting.
You know, I'm thinking about, and I think it's from like the SIP website where they've got like these SIPs are in progress. These were disapproved or an approved. Like, is that Notion? Can we do that in Notion?
Oh, that's very cool. So, right, anybody can come anytime and see like a dashboard view. These are the projects ongoing right now at Gimbalabs. Here's the status.
Yeah. And it feels like that should really be, well, I mean, we could look and see what others, but for instance, here's one from Ken. Like that would be great to see because then like diversity really helps, like because you're like, oh look, there are all these cool projects going on.
Right.
Same with Project Catalyst. You look through and there's just, you know, it's really becomes one of the databases that I search when I'm interested in projects. I'm interested in games, so I go to Lido Nation and I search for game and I get all this sort of stuff. I get a bunch of stuff on Game Changer, filter out for that, and then you know, like because it's games as in, you know, playing games. But a database of projects, whether living or, you know, approved or in the past, and then that connects us to people, and then, you know, and then a person is somebody that you can interact with, you know.
I think that contributing to the process of setting that up and that sort of thing up in Notion would be useful research to the things that I want to do anyway. So I'm interested in helping out with that process as part of the research for my other stuff.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm curious because we could be pioneering this process for the other circles, because the builders and contributors, like, wouldn't that be great if they had their foundational documents, or they had like an index or a talk, a table of contents, for people that they come in and they see like what might be interesting to them, and then whatever resonates. And I don't know if it needs to be the same, because again, it's more ecosystem. This was great from your talk yesterday, Ken, like ecosystem versus organization or organism. That ecosystem as a many pieces loosely joined, internet style, of organisms or organizations. So yeah, they could all kind of be similar. It opens up to more variety, more resilience. Yeah. But I'm interested in doing this, and it's really very selfish. This is another thing that I'm starting to sort of like look for the selfishness. It's just like, selfishly, I want to be able to like pop in here because it keeps me in hypervigilance, which is not good. Because I'm like, I want to be able to offload that part of my brain and say, okay, it's taken care of, and then be able to pick it back up by looking at a document, right?
Yeah.
Well, everybody look at what happened. We have 5 circles. We have one of them with clarity that, hey, maybe some deep workspace is needed. One that's working on an approved project. One that has nothing, but that seems kind of appropriate right now, right? We're not quite to the point of outreach and advocacy, or at least there's no action items there because of the other stuff that's going on. We are live streaming, so hopefully that helps. And then these 2 circles have some overlapping concerns, right? There's a technical proposal that's currently being worked on, and there's a whole bunch of ideas around community building and trust that we just realized could serve as R&D that helps inform this proposal. That's 5 circles that are pretty well accounted for.
Yeah. Feels like the model is working. Yeah.
That deserves a little celebration emoji. So I have a proposal. We've kept the live stream in the main room around education for the last few sessions. What if this work here stays in the main room today? Would you guys feel comfortable with just having a public conversation, thinking about that on the record? And some of us will go do some deep work, and some of us will go keep working on the course.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like what's actionable and might look good for this live stream in here. Does anybody have a Notion account, or we could build a Notion account proposal for someone in the community on onboarding trust building? Because would we be able to like create a Kanban board or get those, because those foundational documents are in Google Docs now.
Right. So here's what's beautiful is that you can make a free account in Notion. You can play with it. It has the features, right? You'll be able to see the boards and all that kind of thing. And then with whatever account you signed up with, when you get added to Gimbalabs later on, you can migrate documents easily.
I see.
But yeah, so doing a little hacking. But also, if you want private space to do this, that's okay. We don't have. I'm just, I think the live stream could stay here. I think that's really interesting and a change of pace. But if you'd rather have space to do that, it's easy to keep going live with the PBL 24 work.
Yeah. I don't know. It's not, I mean, I'm trying to think of like what. Does anybody else want to work on it?
I'm not totally clear on like if you do the free account thing with Notion, like how the collaboration part works in, like if you've got different people working together on something. I'm not sure about that.
Great. So yeah, the collaboration gets a lot easier once you have the paid account in the organization. But one thing you can do at any time is you start a document, you publish it, and you make it editable. And I can demonstrate that quickly right here. Oh, come on. All right, there we go. Yeah, just some Notion board here. And if I made just like a private document or any document anywhere, right? Just look, there's the 3 dots top corner.
Okay.
Whoops, sorry, not the 3 dots, the share button. It's even more prominent than that. Share. And what you'd want to do is go to publish, and you can publish that link. And what this does is it's the same thing as making a Google Doc publicly editable, right?
Oh,
You would just click publish and allow editing like that. Okay, now I'm going to unpublish this right away because this is just a document about some internal work we're doing. Okay. And maybe this would be easier to demonstrate over at Gimbalabs. All right. So Gimbalabs has a project board. This is the prototype, Newman, of that list you're describing, and we can make a public view of this. Can I do like 5 minutes of just a couple of things about Notion?
that'd be great. Yep, that'd be great.
Yeah, this feels kind of natural. So look, Gimbalabs Team Space, right, already has a project board. And these projects can have different states. They could be proposals, they can be in progress. Maybe they're in the backlog, on pause, done, or canceled. And you can imagine other labels that we could have for these projects here, right? One of the cool things about Notion is that everything is a database and you can rearrange it if it helps you to view it in a different way. And you don't have to choose just one way. So I'm in what's called the projects database right now, but I can make another view of this database just by pressing the plus icon. And it's suggesting that I make a board. Yeah, that does sound helpful. Let's see what happens. Oh, look, it's a Kanban view of our projects. There they are, proposed, right? And maybe I want these to be in a different order. It makes more sense to have proposals first on a timeline. And maybe I also want to be able to view done. How do I view that? Let's make sure we can view done. All right, that feels pretty good. I could add the backlog column too. Right, so now we have a Kanban view. We have just an active list view. Once they start having dates on them, we can start seeing a timeline. This is how you make Gantt charts and dependencies and eventually a roadmap, either at the circle or the team level. But it's all coming from the same data and it's all ready for us to go. Okay. What if I wanted a really simple view of this thing that would just allow me to share publicly what's going on? Well, for that, I could do something like a table or a list. Ooh, that list looks pretty good. Let's use that. And let's make sure that we're not really showing any properties whatsoever. Look at that. That could just be a public list. I can make it shareable. I could publish it. But I won't allow editing, and I'm not going to allow anybody to duplicate this. This is just like the live projects that are happening at Gimbalabs. But here's what the public site would then look like. All right. It's not beautiful yet, but you can see where we're going with this, right? And making it a little bit prettier, there's ways to now embed a list like this in a page that has the copy that you want on it, okay? But the beautiful thing is all of the data, you can use it, you can slice, dice, filter it, sort it any way you want to for many different audiences, okay?
Right.
If I wanted statuses here, I would just add that right here. And then I
Interesting.
can sort by status if I wanted to, sort by status. Ah, it's starting to look right. maybe this could be a public list, maybe something like this, right? And then I can copy a link to this view. And let's say I want to make a public document, right? New empty document, Gimbalabs public project view, right? Whatever. And this
Yeah.
can be, we can have some copy. Welcome to Gimbalabs. We put an image on it, a cover image. Oh, that looks good, but we can change it. We can search for anything.
Oh, look at that Unsplash
Gimbal,
search.
right? Yeah, it's just right here built in. And this makes things look nice when you make them public, and it's very quick. So, there's a gimbal. Let's use that one. Okay. Being a little slow for me right now.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, we got a gimbal, but what did I want to do? I wanted
Yeah.
to paste in this view, create a linked view of the database. And remember how there were many views? Maybe I didn't want all of them to be public. Now here's just this one view of just the list right here on this page, clean, neat, no details. This page too could be published. Publish it. What does it look like?
And share it over to us in the chat so we can kind of see, because sometimes I know that like my free account will like sometimes be this way or that way, or I'll have some access and not. It's one of the things.
And you can see the chart's not showing up right here. So there's something I got to fix. I kind of want to get rid of this stuff, but all of that's configurable. See, I didn't quite do it right. Let's see, maybe this needs to be public as well.
Is there a share button in there?
Yeah, let's see.
Aha. So maybe that has to be published somewhere.
Yeah, let's see if that changed it. So then I had this document.
It did. Yeah, now I refreshed it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So I could still, I want to play around with my settings a little bit, because maybe I don't want to publish this whole list, but maybe I do, right? That's up to us to decide. But we have this nice ability. And at least on that public view, at least from this perspective, we're only seeing the option of, that one view. That's good. So the other views, the ability to create new views is not showing up here. At least there's that.
Nice.
But yeah, there's a lot more we could play with there.
If I'm channeling the spirit of Juan, and he would say, get up and move about around this time. And I do know that some folks are interested in some deep work, or if they've already trailed off.
Yeah. Well, we've got the breakout rooms open. And yeah, I would love to connect with anybody who's been thinking about the education part on Plutus PBL for a few minutes. What do you guys want to do? Do you guys want to stay here in the main room and we'll go elsewhere for education, or the opposite? Or something else?
It's good. I can do either. But yeah, my plan is to is to start working in Notion, because I feel like that's a win-win. Yeah. If Gimbal Labs is a Notion shop, and I think it's better than Google Docs, simply because of the wiki nature of it. It's hard to wiki through things in Google Docs, and etc. Yeah. So I can work on that for the next 45 minutes.
Well, anybody else want to stick with Newman and do that? Maybe we can just judge by if there's anybody else. We don't want to leave you just live streaming by yourself.
I think I'll join him on that stuff.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Ken.
Cool. Anybody else?
what is everyone else interested in doing with this 45 minutes of precious lifetime?
Cool. I'm going to jump to a breakout room to think about the education part then. And I think this is great. If we have a little time capsule of these early days of starting to build up how we operate together, I think that's very cool. So are you guys okay with staying here?
Yeah, Ken and I can stick around right here.
All right, cool. Thanks.
We'll stay with the live stream.
Record of it. I'm in room 1 to talk education. Anybody who wants to join, you're welcome to. See you soon, everybody.
All right, all right, all right. And thanks, Ken, for sticking around. And I'm kind of, what I want to do is I want to share my screen and we'll go through some of those things. I'm kind of curious, like, should the community, one of the ideas that came to me was, should the community circle have a proposal? Should we propose? So like, is the foundational document of a circle a proposal? Like, we propose this circle, and the, you know, and there's the oh, let me share my screen. So there's the yeah. So here's the like, we could create a proposal for the circle. Like, that could be the foundational document. We've also got this delegation canvas, which I feel like this is the S3. So maybe we'll start here and maybe work on bringing this into, we could edit it here and then bring it in over to, let me share this. Actually, it's on the, it's on this
Okay.
Miro board. So these all go together.
Hey guys, I'm back.
Is that Hinson? Hey, all right.
Hey, Hinson,
Yeah.
can we spend
Hi.
like 10 minutes just like discussing what is needed? We'll jump into one of the open rooms, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would
sure.
I'd love to hang out with you, but yeah, keep good records and let me know how it got.
All right.
Sure. So what's on the table as community site? Yeah, sure.
Cool. And then all of this stuff here on the you guys can see my screen. Okay, good. Yeah, all of this stuff is on Notion. So this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Notion stuff. Yeah, all that's, and then this can, yeah, okay. I think that Notion solves a lot of this tension for me, to be honest. Ken, what do you think?
Yeah, like I think that it will work for the processes that we're trying to do. Like, I have thoughts about whether or not it's as efficient as it could be, but that's not really something to start with. But
Yeah, you know, and we can look at your proposal, this one, because I know that you've been working on this for a while and that you've got some deep thought into community, you know, knowledge management and like what a community might need or want. Do you want to go through this with me a little bit, just so that? But I do think I do think you're right. Like one of the things that we talked about, were you in the Odin meeting? Because we were talking about governance fatigue and like always trying to change uh uh things, and change is important, but it sort of needs to be in, like on a periodic cycle. Like I would love to see this proposal get put in, and then and people sort of digest. And while we're working through Notion, we kind of have in the back of our mind, it's like this is just a container, and that we can break out of the container.
Yeah, that's my thought. Like if you set aside, like maybe you have a category or project where you're putting together ideas that's sort of like a meta level focus on how we're using Notion.
Right.
So like what things work well, what things don't work well. And that's good info for figuring out something better in the long run.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like kind of in this is one, Miro board is like a tool that we use, and it's like if you hold down the control key, there's Tevo does this all the time. Like I want to just create another sticky. No, that's not it. Fuck.
Is it controlled? I don't know, like different tools have different shortcuts, like
Yeah.
Control D for duplicate maybe, or I don't know.
I know there's a silly shortcut, but anyway, like surfacing tensions in the community space, and basically tensions around the tools we use. Yeah. Because yeah, I do think that Notion, there's a few things that I don't like about Notion, but from his demonstration, I do think that it's pretty good match right now. But I do think that we probably could, and maybe even should, grow out of it. For instance, Gimbalabs started using Canva or Canvas, a learning management system, and they were putting all their stuff into this Canvas, and they quickly realized, hey, we need to roll our own um, uh, learning management system, and that's how we got on Damio. And subsequently, I became a lot more interested in Gimbalabs / Ondamio when that happened, because I feel like that's a good use of developer community, education, developer, and community. Like we need to have our own LMS, and that seems right. But let's go, while you're here and while we're on the live stream, let's go to this community, like go to this delegation canvas. And I can actually show what this is based on by going here. Delegation canvas. Read the guide. Let's see here. Delegation canvas is a tool for negotiating and clarifying the delegation of a domain or to a group of people, a team or a department, to an individual. Sections of the canvas are numbered to indicate the suggested order of moving through the canvas. Each canvas is available in many different formats. A domain is a distinct area of influence, activity, decision-making within an organization. So this area is the community building and onboarding. And a trust building. So it's community, onboarding, and trust building. And we do have the Gimbalabs driver, which I think I'm going to put in a different spot. Let's put it first. Next. Circle drive. Okay. So this I know is kind of, there's a whole process around getting this driver set up. But I came up with these key responsibilities. And Ken, and I think Adrian may be listening in or may not be. But tools of community, like I feel like that a community circle has to sort of, I don't know, what does a community circle do? Like what is the responsibility in your mind, Ken, while I've got you here?
I think, I don't know, like if not necessarily going from the S3 stuff, like what I have in mind when I think of a circle,
Yeah.
I think that that can apply to any time that you have a group of people with a shared goal, and they're going through the process of trying to define their path towards that goal. So I don't know. I it's a more abstract idea, but like I think that you can have circles that are long term, and then circles that just pop up for something spontaneously and then go away like after a while, or maybe even where you have something set up to give you opportunities to randomly interact with other parts of the ecosystem so that you can get a broader picture of things going on. But like I don't know, like I think that for here, just trying to go through the process of looking at what the goals are, and coming up with proposals towards those goals, and then seeing what objections arise, like seeing, like again you were talking about the navigating with
Yeah.
attention.
Yeah.
So like trying to look through things, see what people agree with or what people have problems with, and if there's any reasoning or evidence behind those issues that people have with ideas. So like, yeah, you need to propose ideas first, and so like, or we need to define the goal first, and then people propose ideas that they think could point towards that goal, and then go through the process of refinement.
You know, the driver could be the goal. You know, that's sort of, let's look at the driver. let's look at the driver. Let's see, describe organizational driver. Let's look in the S3 thing. This. Hold on, let me find. S3. Man. For whatever reason, my browser has got this crazy slide down for whenever I type in S3 patterns, and I don't like it because it doesn't take me to where I want to go. There we go. Oh, wait a minute.
Goodness, it,
Wait. It's something about having it's about something about having the
this, I found a section, like I've got a PDF of the practical guide that I searched through in a section called organizational drivers. Like it says, identifying and understanding situations that present potential impediments and opportunities in relation to an organization's objectives is important if we are to successfully orient through our daily work and make the best use of our limited resources, energy, and time. However, not all situations that motivate an organization's members to act are pertinent to the organization for the organization to respond to. With the concept of organizational drivers, we give a name to those situations, and organizations' members investigate and determine as relevant to respond to because they anticipate that doing so would be beneficial for the organization. So I guess it's the drivers or the situations that we're responding to that will be helpful towards achieving the goals of the organization. I think that's what it's saying here.
yeah, and this is they've got it. This has actually changed, but they had these 4 questions, like what is the current situation? What is the effect of this situation on the organization? What is needed of the organization in relation to this situation? And what are the impacts of attending to that need? And it's interesting because you can kind of think of it like, what's the situation around community? What's the situation around, oh, I'm not sharing my screen anymore. Hold on. What's the situation around community? What's the situation around onboarding? And what's the situation around trust building? Like in a way, there are 3 different, lenses to look at this. And the effect of community or lack of community, then you can kind of solve for each one of these questions. And it does, like onboarding, I feel is like it's one of my favorite activities in a community, simply because it can be done poorly. And I've been trauma is too big of a word for it, but I've felt unnecessarily stressed because of poor onboarding. And I think that if we have a real specific and conscious onboarding process, or that we've thought about onboarding in a real way, as opposed to just ad hoc, try to find your way to artful participation, which is another thing. Like it would be good, and that's why I want to work in this, in this place. What is Gimbalabs? Onboarding mindset and process. And that should be reflected in our documentation. So that, is it, or maybe not, maybe it's this spooky game where you have to make up the rules yourself, and, like it's a real ecosystem, because, how does an ecosystem onboard, a new species? You've got invasive species in ecosystems. And do we want invasive species here, or do we want to be like, oh, like, yeah, it's okay. You can find a niche. Don't have to be an asshole. You don't have to ruin everything for the rest of us. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you make a welcome spot for the the tiger shrimp, or whatever,
Yeah.
then it might not be so bad. Because I do think that that's one of the things that you see in Discord, is that people aren't, like, it can devolve, and it doesn't go into the right spot. So that's something about goal. I guess that's what we were talking about, is like goal and driver mapping. And I wanted to find this one. I think it's in here.
The way that stuff is organized on the website, it can be hard to search through and get to the.
I think I've actually, because you've got the PDF and you're just searching through the PDF, and I feel like that is probably, I think Nori does it that way too. But for whatever reason, I think like bookmarks and this search bar is, but
you can have bookmarks on a PDF if you have the right software for it.
I just what's your PDF software? I just started using this.
I'm just using it doing it on my phone right now. Like what's the app called? There's a lot of different.
I just started using this thing called Sumatra PDF.
Okay.
And it allows you to.
Is that in the web browser, or is that?
No, it's a standalone. Oh, you know what? Let's try this while we're here. This is kind of a little bit of this thing, and I probably have this.
Yeah, the app I use on my phone for PDFs is called ReadEra, like ReadEra.
Okay, and that's on the phone.
Yeah, like it's just I want to, like, basically I just want something that I can crop the edges off of and invert the colors on, basically, for a PDF reader. But it's a decent.
Does this one look right?
Yeah, that's the one that I use.
Oh, sweet. And you can make bookmarks in here?
I'm pretty sure I've seen that in here. I don't make a lot of bookmarks myself. I sort of.
Well, oh yeah, here you go. Bookmark, copy text, take notes, translate.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I'm gonna scoop it up. I think they've got it. Oh, wait a minute. No. They don't have it for PC, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know, like, because I use Linux, so like anything I use on my laptop, it wouldn't be the same as for a Windows machine.
Right. Well, instead of going down a rabbit hole, I'm gonna do this. Curious if I'll stop sharing for a second. I'm curious if I can open my uh, the PDF in this thing, but now I can't find the PDF. And I've got the para thing. Is it a project? Is it an area? It's probably a resource. Wait a minute. Is it a resource? I could search. Wait a minute. Should be an area. Should be in Odin or Gimbalabs. And I'm going to spend just a second more on this. And it's not. I'm going to make a new area of focus for new folder for Gimbalabs. So here. I save this. Saving this down in projects. This. Okay, now I've got it saved. I'm going to share my screen again. So I got it saved here. Now I'm going to open it here. Check it out. Okay.
Yeah.
Organizational drivers. So describe organizational drivers. Oh, that doesn't, the links don't work. Links
Is
don't
it?
work.
I just do like the PDF reader has a search. I just type in the word I'm looking for, basically. So if there's, and then I go through the list of where it is, like
Copy.
the PDF mentions the word driver 341 times.
Okay, here it is. Describe organizational drivers.
Okay.
And I think this is where you were reading from before. And basically our question that started all of this, because you and I may work from the same sort of boat, because I want to find a goal. And it's interesting conceptually. I'm going to bring up and sort of try to work with our gimbal, our Miro board here. So it's like a driver on one end, and I wish I had, oh, there you go, a goal on the other, right? And
Yeah.
I think
The Gimbal Labs primary driver, it says to provide open, replicable, safe spaces to learn, to explore, and to empower individuals and organizations anywhere so that we can solve meaningful problems.
yeah.
Yeah, so open, replicable, safe spaces to learn exploring, empowering people. Like those are sort of goals at the top level. If you're talking about what people came up with for Gimbalabs specifically.
Yeah. So, and then inside of this driver, and let me see if I can find, because this will be good. This will be good. Let's go back to, and this gets to document management. Odin driver mapping. I think this is what it was. Or maybe, oh, balls, we're in the same spot. It's the same one. I think we're in the same one. So sorry. So check it out. So we went through this driver mapping sort of governance season.
Yeah.
And driver mapping, why are we here? Crafting the why. Who will be impacted? What is needed? It doesn't have anything about goals. And you're bringing this up and I'm like, oh, right, what? But there is something about goals inside of this. And pardon me if this is a little disjointed. Hold up, there was something Roberto did. And it's I think it's Odin Education Circle Formation. Here we go. Okay. Come on. Okay. This one. Yes. So we came up with the driver's statement, and it was kind of wordy, and so we broke it down into this situation of situation, goal, effect, which is not that, as this thing right here. Situation, effect, need, impact. See, it doesn't have goal here. I'm still going down the rabbit hole. Hold on. Thanks for being here, Ken. Because see, they've changed. They made it a little bit. See, they made it a little bit more concise. They say, what is the current situation? What is the effect? Why is this relevant? Situation, effect, and relevance. And he went into the James Priest, I think.
Well, if you're thinking about relevance, like it has to be relevant to something. So
right.
Yeah, that's sort of where the goal is in that situation is like you have some concept of what it's relevant to, and that has
Relevance,
to
yeah.
do with people's goals. Like it may not be a specific organizational goal, but maybe people's collective amorphous goals. I don't know. Like it's not very clear what goals we're talking about, but
Right. Well,
Like if you talk about different people working on different projects, and you ask someone who if their project is relevant, then I think you get an answer about that person's goals, like what
Right.
their goals for working on the project is for.
Yeah. 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 Like what? Yeah. What are your goals? Why is this relevant? Why? Yeah. But a goal, okay, so my my sort of insight was like a driver motivates and pushes you like a push force. If Jeremy was here, he would say this is like the pushing force.
Like in that section where the in the document, the S3 document,
Yeah.
where it says describing organizational drivers, the third paragraph here, it says organizational drivers are identified by individuals, see navigate the attention, who either respond to them directly. Let's see, when a driver falls within their own domain of responsibility, or them on pass on.
Say it again. Something about the individual, because like an individual's goals, and that's the other thing about goals is like the overlapping goal thing. Are you there? Hmm.
Yeah, I'm back.
Had a hiccup. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm glad
Yeah.
you're back.
Okay. Yeah. So it's they're identified by individuals, and it looks like it's through the process of navigating the attention, and they they either just respond to them directly. So like it has to do with if there's a tension somewhere, like it's 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 something that needs to be addressed. Like if maybe it could be an obstacle or an unrealized opportunity that that has that's on the path towards a goal. I don't know. I think
Yeah. It's interesting. I think it is, and I want to, keeping the stream open for too long is probably a no-no. So we're rolling into the top of the hour, and the others may come back in. But I definitely want to wrap up. Um, I think that was valid. It's good to just get in and sort of work with these concepts alone and with you because you've thought about this quite a bit. And I think that bringing up the idea of a goal, because basically when people come to an organization or when they're trying to onboard or they're trying to get into a community, I feel like they either have a driver that's pushing them or they have a goal that's pulling them. And maybe sometimes both, you know. Um, I
yeah.
need money, it's driving me. Like
Sometimes
I've
the goals aren't related to the final path that they decide to take. Like the initial goals get them in the door, and then they find something else that's better fit to what they want to do.
yes, yes, evolving goals
Yeah.
or nebulous goals or or driver. Um, the idea being stuff, things change over time and um, yeah, over time. Yes. And that's and that really is the reason to have like governance. You know, like what changes and what doesn't. That's why we take the time to craft this driver, because the driver will probably change. You know, we'll do a bunch of work and we'll say, well, we aren't really interested in, you know, replicable, but we definitely want to have open and safe. We're, you know, maybe we kind of like, well, we've kind of explored and found what we want to learn about, and we're no longer interested in sort of exploring. We're kind of now contracting. It's like we just want to do these things. It can evolve in any way. The language can change. You know, it's not going to change very frequently. That's why we spend some time doing it. But I figure every year, yeah.
I think that some of that has to do with individual interests, like whether you want to focus and narrow your perspective or broaden your perspective. Like there's big picture thinking, and then looking at the details. And so I think also, like when you're talking about the onboarding process, my idea about that is you would have entry points into a shared, like if you have a shared knowledge base and you have predefined or defined entry points, like different people could have different entry points, but if it's all connecting to the same knowledge base, then it's fine to have different points of entry. You just, maybe it's one appeals to one person over the other, and maybe it's different learning processes or different ways of navigating the space, but you have a place to start, like a it could be like a table of contents, or like just something that helps you navigate into the system and find where you fit into the system, like where you can establish the things that you want to contribute, and where you can find others to collaborate with, like, and it might, yeah, that's.
Yes. Okay, and I think you said a lot there. That was really beautiful. That there are entry points into a community, and that they are not all the same for different people. But if they all connect down to the same knowledge base, that would be ideal, meaning that you don't have, it's not like you, because then you would just be, it's not the same community. You know, there is a community, and people come into that community and connect in different ways. But there is always a place to start. You know, like what are the starting places of typical communities? They're the Discord, or
well, like I think for the Gimbalabs stuff, it's the, let's see.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
Hey, okay, yeah, we're just sort of wrapping up. We got into some cool things. Yeah.
The last thing I was just trying to say was, I think it's the Zoom meetings basically that are the entry point for Gimbalabs, because that's sort of where you can connect with all the other stuff.
Yeah.
That's sort of how it works for me, at least. Like I'm here because I heard about the meetings and I wanted to join the meetings, and I did a little bit in the past, and then I decided to come back and saw that interesting things were happening, and that's where I decided I wanted to contribute more to.
Cool. Well, hey, I got another meeting starting. I didn't want to not say a word and just have you guys kicked out mysteriously.
Just jumped out.
Trying to fix that pattern.
No worries.
I'm gonna go drop by
y'all.
Hinson too.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Ciao.
See you.
Thanks again.